Welcome back to Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Today, we are going to be diving into something that can really make or break your landscaping business, and that is pricing your work. This is the number one question we see asked all the time in the different Facebook groups. I know ours particular, the Landscape Business Owners Facebook group, people are always asking, how much should I charge for this? What should I charge for that? And again, it's not that we don't want to help them. The problem is that we see so many people providing very little information. And I understand, that whether you're just starting off or you've been in the game for many, many years, pricing your services is vital to your business. It's really the difference between having a thriving landscaping business or one that's just barely getting by. And today we wanted to kind of dive in and talk about some of the different challenges we see landscapers face when it comes to pricing the work. And we're going to share with you a few tips to kind of help you overcome these. So let's start off with the first challenge. Now, the first challenge we see many landscapers face is just underpricing the work. And this is like terrible. We see it over and over. And I understand at first it's tempting to set your prices low, especially when you're just starting off, because you think it's really going to help you get more work and lead to more clients. But here's the thing: when you start underpricing your work, it can really create a stressful situation for not just yourself and your family, but for your business, for your customers, for your employees, everything. Hell, it could even lead to bankruptcy. This is something that we see in this area time and time again here in Northwest Indiana. I don't even know how many landscape companies are in this area, but there's so many people come and go year after year. That's one of the reasons why we created our program here, is because we see so many landscapers come and go. So one of the things we want to talk about with just underpricing the work that we see landscapers face is they just don't know and don't think about all the time that goes into those jobs. Remember, everything that we do is time: the time to install that plant, time to drive there, time to prep the work, time to go get the materials, the time for the crews to weed that lawn, whatever it is. Everything we do is time, and time is valuable. And it's something that we need to account for every minute, every hour of every project that we do. And when you think about things such as, the travel time, the time to get the materials, the prep, the cleanup time, all those things need to be factored into everything you do, because again, everything is time. The second thing that we see landscapers typically fall short of when it comes to underpricing is they're not accounting for overhead. Yes, you understand you have your insurance, you have your maintenance, the things that go in kind of behind the scenes to run your business, your website, your software, whatever you have. And yes, you understand that, but you're just not quite sure how to account for it in your pricing. And this is something that, again, that is a huge number for a lot of people, especially if you've been in the game for a while. That can really hurt you if you aren't accounting for it. We did it for years. We just kind of guess and went off some of the standard pricing, what other people did. And it just made things very difficult. We just seemed to never be able to get ahead. We could never buy that new piece of equipment. We can never give people raises until we started diving into that and understanding how to factor our overhead into our pricing. The third thing when it comes to underpricing is that some people like to underprice their work. I think they solely compete on price, and they really just come in and undercut your competitors. Now, again, this might be a tactic that you can use to help you get the job, but that's a kind of short-term plan here. We're not thinking ahead, because if we keep doing that over and over again, we are going to be barely getting by, because we're not going to have the money to afford that new equipment, to pay for ourselves, to hell, even pay yourself a normal wage. And this is all the things that you need to be doing and thinking about. So again, we're not competing just to win jobs. We're competing to run a profitable landscape business that can support you, your family, your team, your customers, everybody in the long. It's a long process, and you have to think about this. The second challenge is a big one, and is just really a lack of business knowledge. And this is something I remember, and it really hit me hard when we saw ourselves struggling. We brought in an outside consultant to come in there and give us some ideas on how to price our work and how to go through our numbers. And it didn't really hit home until they started talking about the different things, the different financial documents, our P&L, our balance sheet, and, cash flow statements, all these things they started throwing out there. And I've heard of those, but I didn't know what that information was, how to interpret, how to read it and analyze it. And I never went to school for any of that stuff. I actually went to school for computer networking back in the day. And I didn't really have any business knowledge at that time. So it was really just like somebody talking to me in a foreign language. And it was just because my lack of knowledge on this stuff. Once I started grasping that and started learning and reading and just reaching out to other people, this was a huge eye opener for me. And that's when we started thinking, holy cow, we have to change our pricing because we won't last. We will not make it in this business if we keep going the way we're going, or we're just going to be struggling the whole time. And it's just not worth it. So again, this lack of knowledge is something that you can overcome. There's tons of books, tons of podcasts. Hell, our program here, this is one of the things we teach is how to understand those numbers, how to interpret that P&L, how to interpret that balance sheet. And those are the things that you need to start doing. So there's tons of resources out there. So don't be afraid that you don't know it now, you can't learn it. This is one of those things you can do. The third challenge we see landscapers face is really balancing that competitive pricing with our profitability. On one hand, you want to, you need to price your work a certain way to be profitable. On the other hand, you want to be competitive in your market. But finding that sweet spot can be a bit tricky, and it's really essential, again, to the health of your business. And the key is to know your market, know your competitors, look at what some of your competitors are charging, but don't stop there. You need to look at, just the quality of work and how they're doing that, how they're, outlining the pricing structure, all those things. This can really help you really position yourselves effectively. And when we start talking about value a bit later, this is one of the things that you need to know. Remember, being the cheapest option isn't always the best strategy. Many clients are willing to pay more, and they will pay more for quality work and great service. So we need to be able to, find that balance line there, but also be able to express our value, which is another topic we'll get into here in a while. Now, talking about the cheapest option, our fourth challenge is really a frustrating one. And it's been going on for decades, and that is dealing with lowball customers. I can recall my dad talking about this 20 years ago, that these people are just coming in, I don't know how they're pricing the work the way they got to be losing money. And, we've all encountered this, the companies that seem to be charging those just crazy low prices. And I know sometimes it could be tempting to kind of match that, but we need to resist that urge. These companies, for one, either don't know their numbers and they're underpricing, like we talked about, or they're cutting corners just to get by, and that's where the quality starts coming in. Perhaps their level of insurance isn't the greatest. They're not paying the workers all the right things. They're not, they're paying cash under the table, whatever it is. But we can't compete on price alone, and we need to focus on how we value our work better than our competitors. This is, again, why we need to understand our competitors. We need to educate our clients and what sets us apart. Whether it's your attention to detail or how you communicate, you use whatever eco-friendly practices, whatever it is, you use all green stuff, use all electric, whatever it is, we need to find our value here.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $100 off, mention the $1 Million Landscaper podcast.
Are you tired of those spam calls about your online presence and website? I know you're nodding your head right now. Finding a company that knows the details about the lawn and landscape industry can be difficult. Well, I have a solution for you. Let me introduce you to Green Frog Web Design. We all know growing your business in our digital age requires an effective online presence, a website geared towards bringing in new customers. With fierce competition and a never-ending line of chucking the trucks ready to take your place, DIYing your online presence is not a serious option for growing businesses. Find a trustworthy and effective solution with Green Frog Web Design. Oh, and by the way, the first month for a new website is $1. Link is in the bio.
EasyBeasy's easy to use, easy to learn, affordable work order and time clock app with unlimited users included with every subscription. If you've ever struggled with the daily grind of keeping track of work orders, you have to check out EasyBeasy. Make and edit work orders anytime, anywhere you're working, at your desk, in your truck, on the job site, even on your couch. With EasyBeasy, you can easily copy work orders to use over and over, which is great for mowing and plowing. You can also keep track of employee timesheets, contact your customers, add notes, instructions, even pictures of your jobs. EasyBeasy works on Android and Apple devices or any tablet or computer. EasyBeasy also has a wide variety of reports so you can have all the info you need for billing right from your phone. Say goodbye to paying for extra users because everyone gets unlimited users on EasyBeasy. Try EasyBeasy for free for 30 days. Visit easybeasy.app/MDL to sign up. EasyBeasy is a simple work order and time clock app for mow crews, hardscape crews, and everything in between. Start saving time and money with EasyBeasy. Visit easybeasy.app/MDL to sign up today. The next challenge we see is the seasonal pricing fluctuation. And what I mean by that, especially for people up here in the north, we have, winter, it's snowing, we can't do a whole lot of work. Summer, it's spring, it's just crazy. We're just working. And we see many people that are tempted to raise their prices to really capitalize on that high demand. So come that spring, they get the work coming in and they start jacking up the prices. And then the slower season comes, they start to lower the prices just to get more work. And yes, it can be a plan and it can help you. But when we start doing that, we start to create confusion amongst our customers and stuff when they start seeing one price one time and then another time they might call you in the spring and you're super high, and then in the fall your prices are low. It just creates that confusion in there. We don't want that. We want to be able to create that standardized pricing throughout. Again, we just don't want to be raising our prices when we don't have to, or lowering our prices when we don't have to. So we need to understand that seasonal pricing is not really a thing that we need to go off of. The next challenge is something that's come up. We've all seen it over the past couple of years, and that's just rising costs, how to handle that, the rising cost of materials, labor, fuel, equipment. It's all been on the upswing, and it really puts a pressure on our bottom line. And the tricky part here is while our pricing, needs to be increasing steadily, your clients may resist this thing. They may not want to pay that. That means you need to be a little more thoughtful about how and when you adjust your prices. And one of the approaches is to really build some flexibility in the models that you do. For example, you might have a clause in your contract that allows for price adjustments based on materials. So, if prices go up, your quote is only good for 7 days, 30 days, whatever. After that, it may go up because prices change. So just having those things, is very important, and you need to be clear with your customers on this. And remember, most of our clients will understand if you explain that, the materials is 50% of your cost or whatever it is. And they start to understand what it's all about and what is all kind of being done for this. The communication is key here. And our final struggle here is one that can really have a big pricing effect. And that is just really understanding what goes into the job, the difficulty of estimating the jobs correctly overall. And what I mean by this is just having the knowledge of what goes into that job. I was reviewing a customer's estimate the other day, or last week, I think it was, and we were going over a project. It was a seat wall, And I started pointing out some things. They had some pictures up there, and I'm like, oh, you probably need to get a mason because they didn't do masonry work. You probably need to get a mason in here to kind of fix that cultured stone and a couple other things. I'm like, then you need to think about the drainage on the seat wall to get water out of there and all this stuff. And there's just a couple things that they just didn't think about. And it's really, some of that just comes with experience. Some of it you can, to me, those are good opportunities to use a Facebook group. You can point out, like, put it in a picture into the Facebook group and say, hey, what are all the things you need to think about if I'm looking to do this and here? And again, it's just reaching out and asking people for help with this one, because if you're not including all those things and you start running into it, yeah, you can ask your customer for the, price is going to have to change or increase because you didn't think about it. But to me, our job is to present the final price to that customer for that entire project. And if you underestimate it, you're going to lose, and that's not what we want. If you overestimate it because you're not sure, you just kind of throw some high numbers, you could probably lose that job to somebody else that's bidding on it. So it's really important to kind of have an idea and keep track of things. Along that note of keeping track of things, I should say, is keeping track of times, how long it takes you to do the patio install. How long does it take you to install that tree? How long does it take you to install a brick edging? Whatever you're doing, start tracking these times. It's going to make it easier in the future to start estimating things. So those are really the 7 major challenges we see landscapers face. And again, some of the ways we've talked about here of how to handle this is to, one, just start reaching out, start asking for help, start talking to other landscapers, talking to other vendors. Like I said, we talked to a consultant. We've talked to some concrete construction companies. We talked to a hardscape supplier just to get some ideas and just how to run a business better. The next thing is to really understand your job costs and do some job costing. This is a huge one. There's no better way to improve not just your estimating skills, but learn how to price work is based on your past performance and understanding how long it takes your crews to do things. How long does it take to install that rock? How long does it take to install that mulch? And just looking at doing that time and money, analysis on that job and seeing, did I make money? What could I have done better? What could I have done to teach the crews better? Whatever it is. And that is really one of the most important things I can't stress enough about. The next thing is focusing on communicating that value. That's something that we talked a little bit earlier in the show, is we need to learn how to communicate our value to our customers. When you go start dealing with the competitors, talking to the customers, I should say, dealing with the competitors, again, we're going to have those lowball customers, those lowball competitors, and we need to think about how can we overcome that. And yes, there are some people that are just price shopping, but we need to express that we use better quality materials. Like when I had somebody say they used to go to Menards or they can go to Home Depot and get their materials. Well, we use Unilock brick. So I'm like, you know what? I understand. Yes, you can go use that Menards brick. You know what? I have one in my truck. Let me go get that for you. So I literally brought the brick out. I had a Home Depot brick or Menards brick, whatever it was. And then I had the Unilock brick, and I literally took a hammer, whacked the cheaper brick. It typically broke. I'd whack the Unilock brick, it stayed solid. And I'd say, this is what you're getting. And I'm like, this is just one hit. Over time, this is going to break down. Look how frail this is, and how water can get in there and penetrate, and it's not going to last as long. And go over those things, and people can start seeing that. Oh yeah, that's a huge difference there. Talk about how you communicate, when we're going to come out, what's your process, all these types of things. Again, it's how you can express your value to your customer. The next thing we need to really think about is, how can we use technology? How can we use programs like a spreadsheet or software programs to be able to understand these numbers and how to account for things and be more accurate and more efficient with things. There's so much technology out there nowadays. Again, whether it's using spreadsheets like we have or using some sophisticated software, those are things out there that we need to take advantage of. And I was having this discussion too with somebody else in another Facebook group. They were talking about investing in some kind of software, and they're like, "Oh, I just didn't want to pay that money." So I asked them, like, would you purchase a new skid steer if it can help you out, or mini skid if it can help you out? Oh yeah. Well, I'm like, well, your software and programs like we have are an investment in your business, just like that piece of equipment is. This is an investment too. It's just going to help you out in a different manner. They can get your estimates done in a timely manner, price wise, so you're making more money. How's that any different than that skid steer or mini skid? And it's not. And it's one of those things that we just need to think about when looking at investing in a program like ours, or in some kind of other technology. We need to think about the outcome, how it's going to help us, how it can make us save money or make more money. We need to look at all those all together. So if you guys are interested in something like that, we just put together our new landscaping price calculator for everybody. It is a going to be a game changer for you, especially if you're just starting off. And this in October, I should say, we are going to be taking on 10 people to kind of go through this program, and we're going to use it. I know it works. I've had people test it, but we're going to go through it and show you guys exactly how to do this to improve our training program on it, but to help you guys out. So if this is something that's interested, if you're interested in this, I should say, feel free to reach out to me at Scott, SCOTT, at milliondollarlandscaper.com. This is going to be a game changer program for the industry. It's going to be very affordable. It does include some one-on-one training. We're going to, like I said, these in October, we're going to be doing some more group coaching that goes along with it. It's beyond what we have in our program, but it's going to definitely help you learn how to price your work and consider all those things we talked about here. So you're not going to be undercutting. You're not going to be the cheapest lowballing guy out there, because you're going to know how to price your work. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. We'd love to have you guys in this program here. Now, if you guys have any other questions on this, or something else that you find that you're struggling with pricing, let us know. We are here to help you with this. This is what we do. This is what we want to do, is we want to help you understand how to price your work so you can take that vacation, so you can take that paycheck on a regular basis. And this is something we see landscapers just struggle with over and over and over again. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can make the difference. You can change this, and you can price your work the way you need to price based on your numbers. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on that. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.